Hello, everybody. Welcome to SportsSkope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 9th day of February. We're Thursday. Got a good show on tonight here. Super Bowl week. We're getting a little bit closer to the Super Bowl. Cannot wait. Supposedly, now, Jamie Paggs, the Philly sports guy, he said he's going to try to come on. He's at a bar. He does a lot of events there in the Glendale area for, the group he's with that he's going to see the Super Bowl with. It may be too loud. He's going to try to come on the program 30 minutes after the hour, and he may be getting into a lot there. Going to ask him if he can come on about what his how it's been this week. I'm asking about that fight zone there for the Eagles. But this program, going to get into a lot of blockbuster trades here. The not so big trades are the ones I'm more impressed with, to be honest with you folks. We're going to talk about the blockbuster. Obviously, a lot of big stuff happened overnight. Got thrown off by. Also, there's some breaking news here out of the Athletic reported Oklahoma and Texas are leaving the Big 12 for the SEC in the next summer of 2024. A week ago, that was not the case. All reports are that the conference were not going to let Oklahoma and Texas out early. They're going to be a year early next summer. Next summer, it's 2023 now, September of 24. We're going to see probably Arch Manning, the nephew of Eli and Peyton, play in the SEC for Texas, okay? The Big 12 will collect $100 million in exit fees combined. So the two teams will pay that $100 million to play in the SEC a year early, folks. Let me go ahead and take my break. We'll talk about these NBA trades and everything. I'll be back in a minute, 19 seconds. We'll get this out of the way here, and we'll hit the ground running here on SportsSkope. Hello, SportsSkope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsSkope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there. For $5 a month, 17 cents a day, you can help support the program. You ask yourself, why SportsSkope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is SportsSkope, again, spelled the same way. Or you can go to the Zelle app, sportsscope@gmail.com. SportsSkope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is SportsSkope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty, now I'm back live here on All Links. Okay, so the Phoenix Suns have a new owner, Matt Ishaba, and this guy is a 43-year-old owner here for the Phoenix Suns. This guy takes over the team yesterday. He actually played on the Michigan State basketball team that won the national championship in 2000 under Mike Izzo, Coach Izzo. Now, that's the first championship. I think it's the only one for Coach Izzo. So now his dad started this company called United Whole Mortgage business. And this company went public, I want to say back in 2013. And he ended up buying this, the guy's billionaire. I think he's worth a little over $4 billion. he purchases the Phoenix Suns. So he has a basketball background. And after all this, the guy ends up getting a blockbuster trade orchestrated here for to get Kevin Durant here. To get Kevin Durant from the to get Kevin Durant here from the Brooklyn Nets. Now, okay, so here we go. All right. The Suns, they got Kevin Durant, TJ Warren, pretty good shooter there. Pickle says it's a trust fund, baby. Yeah. Yeah, the guy was born on third base. Seems like a nice guy, though. So they get Kevin Durant, they get TJ Warren, but they give up one of their best defenders, this guy, Mikal Bridges, Cam Jordan, and Jay Crowder. Now, Crowder's already been retraded again. I didn't know you can even do that. Some crazy rules in NBA, man. I'll tell you, Pickles. Okay, so he goes to he ends up going to Milwaukee in 4 first-round draft picks. So the Nets really building up. They're kind of going the Danny Ainge route, right, Pickles? And they're going to get the boatload of draft picks. They're just going to start over. I don't blame the owner there for doing this. But you know what? At first glance, I thought to myself, man, this looks great, you know? And it's like when you see a movie, when you think about Rambo and Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Terminator, and those movies look great in the 80s, in the early 90s. You know, Terminator, the first one was shot in 1984. Part 2 was better than Part 1, shot in like 1991. It was released in 91. They look great. Those movies would not look good now with a 70-plus-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger and a 70-plus-year-old Sylvester Stallone. And so, yeah, I'm looking at this, and on paper it looked great. But you guys got to keep in mind that Chris Paul's 37 years old, okay? And we know that he gets injured just about every year. And you got Kevin Durant, who's 34. Now, he's coming off of injury. He will be supposedly back after the All-Star break. He's not going to play in the All-Star game, which is next Sunday. It's a week from the date. All right. This team is on a little bit of a tear. That being said, Devin Booker here. Now, he's came back. They're on a little bit of a winning streak, you know. And you look at Kevin Durant here. You're still waiting on him to come back. Devin Booker, he's trying to work himself back into shape, back into playing time. He's coming off of an injury. The team is a 6th seed. And so essentially, that right now they would have to play the 5 seed. You know, they would have to play Dallas, which is the 5 seed. And they're 8 games out of first place. So you look at that, they've got about 23 games, Pickles. They've got about 23 games to build chemistry and go from a 6th seed to a possibly 2 or 3 seed, 2, 3, 4, and get that home court and hold your breath that both Westbrook or both Chris Paul and Kevin Durant stay healthy. It's a lot of what ifs for a 37-year-old and a 34-year-old. Now, you got DeAndre Ayton. He's young and in his prime. You got Devin Booker. He's young and in his prime. I get it. Don't want to poo-poo this too much, but I also want to be a realist, guys. So you got to say all this. You got guys like Skip Bayless saying that these guys are already world champion material. Remember when LeBron in his prime went to a new team, you know. Now, most of this team has already been together. They got a great coach down there. This is really like that head coach down there. Really like Chris Paul, even though I've heard he can be a little bit phony sometimes. Paul's had some misfortune, unforeseen circumstances where he got hurt that year against the Golden State Warriors when they had the Warriors on the ropes. Durant was on that Warrior team, and he had a shot to go play with Kobe and that group. The league shot that down. He seemed to come up just a little bit short. Always some type of injury when he was playing with that Clipper team, So it's just he's one of those guys that you would like to see. And they came up short against Milwaukee in the finals a few years ago. You'd like to see him get a break and win a championship, but that's ifs and nuts and candy and nuts. I mean, that's more of a situation where you want it to happen because you feel for the guy, but then you look at the realization of how deep the West is. The Lakers got better during trades, and they're still way down there, but they're going to compete for a playoff. Now they've got D'Angelo Russell. I'll go over that trade here in just a little bit. Okay. The Clippers got better. Okay. Want to say they got Mason Plumlee as a backup now. During the Russell Westbrook trade, Westbrook was traded to Utah. Utah, like I was telling you yesterday, they're simply going to buy out Russell Westbrook. Danny Ainge got 1,000 draft picks, and I'll talk about that here in a minute too. You look at that. He may come in as a filling guy for the Clippers here. He'll probably be a role player. He'll probably be a role player for the Clippers. Now, can Ty Lue get him to play that role with a loaded team? That is a loaded, energetic team, that Clipper team. So you got to look at, and then I even failed to mention this young and hungry Denver Nugget team. Okay, young and hungry Memphis Grizzly team. That's the 1 seed. That's the 2 seed in the West. So it's a whole lot of. Then I mentioned Dallas has Kyrie Irving there. Okay, that young Dallas team. So it seems like it's more of an uphill battle than it looks like from right here. Now I know talent prevails, but if this was the big three and it was a half-court game or a bubble situation, then they'd be my favorites, and maybe I'd put the Lakers with them. But that's not the reality of it. That is simply not the reality of it. Like I said, again, if everything works out perfectly, and I do mean they would have to really, really be fortunate, and they mess around and get the 2 seed and catch Memphis, they might have a chance to get to the finals. But you just have to look at this from a realistic perspective. I think they're going to be fun to watch. I like the fact that the trade got made. I think it's great for my job. But I have my doubts that this team will even make it to the Western Conference Finals, if you ask me, folks. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but I also, Pickles, I have to be and Pickles says, yeah, they'll have to mesh quickly, And of course, Ayton will be a good rim protector. Also, you got to think about that for a guy like Kevin Durant. They're going to be fun to watch. You hold your breath to stay healthy with their age, with the uphill battle that they're going to have to go through. 3 years ago, that was the whole monologue to start. 3 years ago, this would have been a lock to go to the championship, man. If you have a 31-year-old Kevin Durant, a healthy 31-year-old Kevin Durant, not an injured Kevin Durant, a fully healthy 31, 32-year-old Kevin Durant, and a fully healthy Chris Paul at 34, and a Devin Booker as his age is now. Was he 27, whatever, 26? If you have a Devin Booker now with this team, with the DeAndre Ayton now, with this coaching staff now, then you would have a championship contended team, But that's not the case. The NBA trade deadline, the NBA's not, the ratings been down. The NFL continues to separate itself even more, but it's exciting. It's exciting. Westbrook, that trade went through. Westbrook is now out of LA. D'Angelo Russell, another guy known to be an immature player, grown up a little bit. He's now back with the Lakers. Okay. Lakers have some shooters there. They picked up quite a few players. Okay. So the trades that I like are not the big trades. They're not the big trades. Corey, if you're out there, Mike Muscala to Boston. He's a smooth shooter. I remember Muscala from Atlanta. Okay. And let me see if I can find this right up here. Oh, Mike Muscala. Okay. Mike Muscala. Okay, guys, just kind of bear with me. Got a whole lot of notes here. And did I mention Minnesota plays in the West? Minnesota's better now, by the way. So just for the record, okay, so you got Chris Paul, Devin Booker, TJ Warren, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton. Looks great. Like Colin Coward would say, the movie poster looks great. The writing's probably terrible. The movie poster does look great. And here's a write-up from CBS. Going back to the Suns, and I'll go back to that Muscala. The Suns are ranked 24th points in the paint and 29th in fast break points. Durant doesn't get to the rim too often, and while he's a strong transition player when he wants to be, he's not known for pushing the pace of the stage of his career. There's very much a jump shooting team. Sometimes the jump shots fall short. The Suns no longer have elite defense or depth to fall back on. These are not the 2017 Warriors. The roster's imperfect. That's what CBS says. Okay. And here's another screenshot. At 11 a.m., Mike Ishiba, $2 billion purchase of the Suns was finalized. Less than 12 hours later, they got Kevin Durant. The NFL isn't the only property making noise in Phoenix, according to Sports Business Journal. Okay, here we go. Mike Muscala, guys. All right. This is one I like, Corey. The 31-year-old Muscala is shooting 41.3% from beyond the three-point arc over the past season. He takes care of the ball. He won't step outside of his role. 66% of his shots this season are three-pointers. Muscala is a solid defender. I looked up Stats Muse. His rating's like 112. Okay. And he says, we're interested to see how he fares in Boston. Switch-heavy defensive schemes. Opponents are shooting below expected input against him this season, including 4.3% below expected all shots inside 6 feet. Muscala and Horford were teammates in both Atlanta and OKC. I think that is a really good, understated move by the Boston Celtics. According to FanDuel, Boston's still the favorite to win the championship at plus 260, guys, followed by Milwaukee at plus 390. The Phoenix Suns, a little fool's gold, in my opinion, plus 480. The Nuggets are down to plus 750. Clippers, plus 1,200. The Philadelphia 76ers, plus 13. And, of course, Golden State's still in there, just by name only, plus 15. We don't know how bad that Steph Curry's injury is. They use the word weeks. They are 7th seed. And when you hear the word weeks with an S, with 23 to 25 games to go, I think Golden State's in trouble. I said that before today. I still stand by that. And Golden State is favored over Dallas and Memphis to win the championship. But again, Boston, Milwaukee with Jay Crowder, Pickles. Milwaukee's on a little bit of a tear now. I have not just poo-pooed that. Middleton's starting to play better. He seems to be 100%. Milwaukee, Boston, that's probably going to be a knockdown, drag-out series again, Corey. Probably 6 or 7 games. Boston's still up by a game and a half in the East, followed by Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Cleveland, and Brooklyn. Brooklyn's going to fall off the map. You look at Miami at 6th seed, New York, and, of course, Atlanta at the 8th. And they're talking about Toronto did not make any moves, guys. They're still a 10 seed. They didn't make the moves Let's go to the West. Denver, Memphis, the 1 and then 2 there. Sacramento, 3, really young. Okay, Dallas is a 4. Again, okay, Phoenix, they're the 5. Excuse me, I stand corrected. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They're the 5 seed, followed by the Clippers, who made some massive upgrades as well. New Orleans kind of fell off the map a little bit. Minnesota got better today. Okay, Minnesota, they got Patchler. They're likely. For one thing, Minnesota got Mike Conley. They got Mike Conley in the Laker trade. That's another vet. He's a little bit older. He's not the main guy here, okay? But they got Mike Conley there in that trade. Let me see if I can go back over that trade real quick. Here. And Jay Crowder adds defensive depth there to Minnesota. Let me see if I can find this bad boy here. All right. Okay. So in this 3-team deal that went final lines after I left the program, turned off the program last night, the Lakers got D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. Very good pickups for and they got rid of Russell Westbrook. That's addition by subtraction. Utah, they've got Westbrook. Now, Westbrook is going to be a buyout. They're going to buy him out and get him out of town. He's not even going to Utah. He's not going on an airplane. And they got a couple guys I've never heard of in another draft pick. Okay, now Minnesota's got Mike Conley, okay, and this Nickeil Alexander Walker and 3 second-round picks. But Patrick Beverley got moved in a separate trade. Orlando's supposed to buy out Beverley. Beverley's going to come back to Minnesota, okay? He's going to come back to Minnesota. That's huge. So now you've got him with Anthony Richardson, and you've got him there with Anthony Richardson and Mike Conley. Obviously, Rudy Gobert there. So I could see Minnesota, guys. Beverly brings a swagger to that team. I could see Minnesota being tough. So you look at Phoenix. They're going to have to play Minnesota down this 23-game stretch. They're going to have to play this Clipper team down the 23-game stretch. The Lakers, I just mentioned, the Lakers made some upgrades here. The Lakers, now their starting lineup is Malik Beasley, D'Angelo Russell, this Hashirama guy, number 28, kind of got a Japanese name here, black guy though. LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who doesn't really seem happy. He seems a little irritated with his role with the Lakers. Maybe all that gets better that Westbrook is here, but the Westbrook is gone. But, I again, love what Minnesota done. Love what Milwaukee done. I love what Boston done. I like those trades the best. Yeah, Dallas, it's a risk, but I'm just not sure about that Phoenix thing. It just looks like they're just a few years too late, guys. See what you're – and Pickle says he plays top-notch defense, Patrick. He brings a sense of swagger to that team, a nastiness, and Richardson don't have to be the guy. He's still very young guy. Remember, he was – Anthony Richardson, very talented player for the Timberwolves, was the number 1 pick the COVID year. People kind of forgot about him because he's way up there in Minnesota. He was picked in that COVID year, And who cares if AD is happy? Another dude who can't stay on the court and a huge contract. Yeah, that is true, Brian. He can't stay healthy. So that's guys like him. Okay, Chris Paul can't stay healthy. Okay, Kevin Durant, we don't know how long he can stay healthy. So those are guys I simply not really Knox went back to Golden State. Plus, Golden State did get Gary Payton. They traded James Wiseman to Detroit. And that's another point I was going to make, Brian. I like that general manager up there. His name's slipping my mind right now. Up there in Golden State. But I was just going to make the point, not everybody hits 1,000. People say, well, this team missed on this team player and this team missed on that player. Yeah, but they got 4 rings, Billy, what's his name? Bob Meyer. Bob Meyer from Golden State. So they got rid of Wiseman. They brought in Knox. They brought in Gary Payton up there. Bob Meyer, Brian, yeah. Brought in Gary Payton up there. And he simply did not. Wiseman never clicked pickles with that team. I thought Wiseman was going to be a big hit. Now, he sent off the Detroit. We don't know. Detroit's going to let him play this year and see what happens. Detroit wants to get and please, God, please don't let Detroit get Victor Wembanyama. I want to see him go to a Utah or somebody like that. By the way, so Utah has 15 first-round picks, Corey, through 2029 for Danny Ainge. All right, 15 first-round picks. And I did screenshot something interesting. Adrian Wojciechowski says the Jazz have assembled a massive package of assets, including 15 unprotected or, quote, lightly protected first-round picks through 2029 and a young core of a Lauri McLaurin. I remember him from the Bulls years ago. Walker Kessler, Colin Sexton, yes, he's a talent, and some guy named Achia Abaji, and $60 million in cap space. I would love to see a Utah guys get the French phenom in June, Victor Wembanyama. He'll probably go to Orlando or something, and I'll just pull my hair out. I hope he goes to either maybe a Houston, a Utah, a San Antonio. You want a player of that caliber, and it's good for the league too, to go to a well-managed team. Look at Port. He says, Carla, he says Danny Ainge is a genius. So they're the favorites. The team he assembled, they're the favorites to win the championship, even after all this movement in the league over the past 24 hours in Boston there, thanks to Danny Ainge. We told you about all those players he's assembled and draft picks. Now, you're going, even if you miss on some of this, mentioned Bob Myers, even if you miss on some of those players, you can't miss on all of them. I don't see Danny Ainge. He works too hard here to miss on all of these guys. Houston so Houston's brought back John Wall. Let me see if I've got that soundbite of him dissing Houston last year, guys. That was funny. But I've got possibly in the next 5 minutes, guys, the Philly sports guy coming on, and we'll see if I can get him on here. But yeah, I did have a soundbite here, and I think I retweeted it. If I did, I'm going to try to play. Okay, John Wall, a month ago on his team in Houston, he calls them trash beyond trash. Here's John Wall talking about Houston, who he just got traded back to.
He already wants out. When I landed, I'm like, what up, Woo? I'm about to land. I go do my conference shit. He's like, well, I'm on my way to Atlanta for Lil Baby's birthday.
He's talking about Harden or somebody.
He talking about, you want to get on jet with me? Bitch, I just got traded here. I can't fuck up. I got to be on good terms. Like, I don't know how the owner is, the GM is. I don't know nothing. It's new. This ain't like I'm in D.C. Am I in D.C.? I'm like, hell yeah, we out.
Right.
It's my show. Yeah. This ain't my show over here.
Yeah, nah.
So we do that. So he don't come to training camp, none of that. So, that news is all toxic. For me, I ain't playing 2 years.
Right.
Mom passed, Achilles, and COVID. So I'm like, I don't give a who playing, who not. I just want to hoop.
I'm just trying to get on the court.
That's it. So I did that. Went there, worked my ass off, played. I mean, we lost 20 in a row. We were trying to lose on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, we started studying named Justin Patton.
Yeah. He's
like, we started meeting. This is how I started.
He's dogging them out. Now, this may be some kind of buyout deal or something. They're using him for some type of leverage here. They're using him for some type of leverage here in another deal. I guess I could ask Jamie about they're sending Thibault to the Blazers. Not sure if that's going to really do anything. So John Wall's been a bit of a disappointment. Injuries, bad teams, lack of development, coaching. Just not turned out to be the player that I thought he was going to be when he got drafted number 1 overall some time ago now. him and DeMarcus Cousins, both out of Kentucky, really did not work out there. But it was funny. He's saying, man, these guys blowing off training camp. He's talking about James Harden when he was there. And he's like, I don't know what the owner GM's like. I can't do all that. I just am here to ball. So I don't know what they're going to do with John Wall. I do like the fact, for everything I read, also, Carlos, that this guy Josh Hart here, that came over from went over to the Knicks from Portland. That's Jalen Brunson's college teammate. Thibodeau loves it, said he likes his shooting efficiency, his competitiveness, and he likes to get out there and defend. It's some of these small trades that are not big time, from everything I'm reading from teams that are in the playoff hunt. Those are the ones I like. Not these big giant trades here. Just not really. Now, the giant trades may play off, And Corey says he's Westbrook light. He runs 90 miles an hour, and he never quite got the jumper of a Westbrook. He was just an unpolished product, and he never got the proper polish. And now he's not as intense as Westbrook. He's probably a better teammate than Westbrook. But I would agree, man. He is definitely a Westbrook, right? And, of course, Carlos, he don't like anything that Thibs says. He wants Thibs to get out there, and maybe they'll go out and get a more of an offensive type of head coach here. Maybe they'll go out and get a Steve Kerr type, minus Steve Kerr's nonsense, and let that team develop the next step the way that Golden State did with the Mark Jackson situation, like we talked about the other day, And, Hart can play. I really like more players who want to be on the court these days. Malik Bridges, not a superstar, but he can come up and show up. Yeah, I like guys like that, Malik Jay Crowder, I know he's coming back. He hadn't played since last year in that Game 7. A lot of these role players, man, that play well, like Michelle, Corey, it's those guys are going to be really good come playoff time. Remember, guys, a few years ago, the Toronto Raptors made a trade for Marc Gasol. And I really felt like, even though Gasol was on the back half of his career, you remember he played with Kawhi Leonard. And that team, I felt like Gasol really helped them put him over the top, even though he wasn't considered a great player at that point. He wasn't a mainstay on that team. They had Siakam and everything. I know that. And quite frankly, Toronto, they didn't want to be sellers. They never, that OG Anunoby guy, whatever his name is, Obi-Wan Kenobi is what I call him. He stayed in Toronto. Siakam stayed in Toronto. I was for sure Van Vliet was going to stay in Toronto. So they're going to hang tight. Now, they'll be a tough out in the West if they find a way to get in, even in that play-in game. You look at Philadelphia. I think what we're set up for, folks, we're set up for a very good competitive playoff. Last year, the Boston and Milwaukee great 7-game series. Dallas and Phoenix went 7 games. Really good series there. Memphis and Minnesota. Remember, there was almost a fight there between Patrick Beverley last year. Minnesota's lacking that this year. I said it at the end of the year. I did not like them getting rid of, in that trade, of course, getting rid of Patrick Beverley. Now Beverley comes back. Now you got a seasoned Mike Conley with the Rudy Gobert, with the super talent like a Richardson. You have that nice flex of balance there up in Minnesota. So though they're going to make it, and they're going to be interesting. So what the truth of the matter is, I just got a notification. Jerry Lawler suffered a massive stroke. Remember that guy was He's out of ICU. He was a pretty famous wrestler back in the day. I digress. So something pops up on my screen. Crazy stuff comes on my screen at night when I'm doing the show, like Christy Alley died and Elvis Presley's daughter died. But anyways, so we're set up for a really good playoff run. I would say probably the best in years. It's not a lot of sweeps this year, I don't think. If you look at it, I think the Knicks are going to be interesting. I think Brooklyn's probably going to fall off and just hit the reach. It's kind of weird, though. Don't you guys think that, I've never seen – have you ever heard of a 4 seed like a Brooklyn Nets team? Totally just hit the reboot button. They're a 4 seed. They're playing pretty good basketball. They're coming up on the All-Star break. They got their best player coming back after the All-Star break, and all of a sudden they just throw some TNT in there and blow the whole thing up. That is just crazy talk right there. But that's what happened. That's what happened, and nobody saw it coming. Nobody really saw it coming. And when you got Kyrie, he left, and then you have Kevin Durant. And now they're just going to get a bunch of draft picks. I think it's like the owner woke up on the wrong side of the bed and said, bleep these guys, Based an entire team. Yeah. And Carlos says Orlando used to be that team to do that. Yeah, Orlando is – and that's the team – Orlando is one of those teams I just do not want to see a guy – now, he might not be that good. He may be massively overrated. But I do not want to see a guy like a Victor Wembanyama go down there and get lost. What happened with Shaq? They Magic moment. They made a documentary about Shaq, about the Orlando Magic when Shaq came there in 92, right? And then a year later, they get Penny Hardaway? Are you kidding me? That's called luck. That was just luck and imagination. So they get Penny Hardaway really high on the draft, and then they go on a run. But really, they had a little bit of life down there in Orlando when they got Dwight Howard some years later. But, man, the Magic are just, they're one of those teams. You see players go there to die, man, and they're not quite like Miami, which Miami didn't really do anything. If they did, I didn't see anything interesting that Miami done. But you just hate to see one of these really good players go to one of those organizations. You'll see them on TV every now and then. They'll go to 2 or 3 coaches, and you're hoping that somebody, a big team, trades for them. I like to see a guy like that go to a team, like I mentioned, a Utah or somebody. Houston, I like the owner there. Not that much else there. Sam Presti, another very good general manager in Oklahoma City. One of those guys. You have to have help. You have to have people around you. Now, I haven't heard anything from Jamie. He may be in the middle of a wild party. This guy's a Philly sports guy. Now, he is actually at Glendale, Arizona, going to the Super Bowl with this organization he's got hooked up with. And he says that it may be too much of a mess out here. What did he say? He told me in the text, he said, I'll try, may be a mess, though. So I don't know if he's saying he may be a mess or his environment may be a mess or both. Either way, I told him don't worry about it if he can't make it. There's so much going on. Yeah, and Pickles, that's a very good point there. So chemistry does matter. Again, you throw Durant in there. It would be different if Booker and Paul all played the whole season together and everything was meshing and Durant was healthy. But that's not the case. That's not the case. Remember, LeBron, when they went down there, they didn't make it the first year, okay? They didn't win it the first year. When LeBron went to the Lakers, they didn't get too far the first year. I don't even think they got to the playoffs the first year. So it just doesn't feel like that's not going to be, and it really, and I keep forgetting that they did lose quite a few players like Bridges and Crowder there. two of your anchor role players, that came to that team, guys. But the Clippers, I will say this. Let me see if I've got a screenshot of their of what the Clippers are going to look like. But I'll tell you this, they're going to be good. You've got Mason Plumlee. You got a backup there. Eric Gordon is on there. Bones Holland. He is also, they made a trade to get this guy. These are good role players from everything I read. Marcus Morris Sr., obviously Kawhi Leonard. That's a backup, and possibly they're going to get a buyout from Westbrook. So Westbrook would be a backup here to either Man or Bones, or would you put him in at shooting guard, playing behind a Paul George, between him and Eric Gordon, somebody like that. So I could see him messing things up. Now, Ty Lue's a good coach there. Ty Lue, he's a good coach. He's used to dealing with strong personalities. He won a finals there with the Cleveland Cavs years ago. He's used to be. So I don't know about. See, Westbrook, like I talked about in yesterday's program, he's turned into such a cancer and such a loose cannon. It's hard to tell whether he's going to agree with something or not. So you got Plumlee for depth there. And this team is a very good defensive team, very athletic team. Remember a few years ago when we thought that Utah was going to get to the finals? Well, I did. I was suckered enough to think they were going to, because they were shooting the lights out in the regular season. They were a 1 seed, and this team beat them. And then Kawhi got hurt, and they still beat them. Well, a lot of those core players, like Paul George, they're still on that team. They're going to be tough, man. They're going to be tough. I've looked at last week. I looked at some of their big competition. They had a winning record against Dallas, who Dallas had their number a few years ago. And I want to say they're 2-1 against Denver. So the Clippers are, like the last few years, are a sneaky good team. Now, I kind of got a sense that the Clippers this year are a team that are simply not they don't have that focus on them like the first year they were with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard together. They don't have so the focus is on Boston in the East, Milwaukee in the East. The focus is going to be on Kevin Durant with Phoenix now. Okay, even though they're not playing well, there's still a lot of the sports talk shows they're leading with LeBron and the Lakers, even though they're not doing a lot. So the Clippers are kind of falling along there. It's kind of hovering around here. Denver is there. Hey, there's the Philly sports guy, and he is in full attire here. Okay, now I'm going to bring in Jamie Paggs. He made it. I'm going to see if I can find a theme song for you, man. This is the best I can do, Jamie.
To victory! What's up, everybody?
20 more seconds.
I watch your Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles fly. On the road to victory. Eagles! Let's go.
Hey, Jamie, man, I appreciate you coming in, buddy.
Right.
Something.
Yeah, I told him I'm the chief. After we win,
I got lots going on behind you here.
Where did that originate from?
That's been around for a long time. Before I was around, and they actually it was around, and then they got rid of it for a little while, and then they brought it back again. So I know since like the 90s that it's been back. And now it's just a staple. Now it's just a staple.
Yeah. You know something that is very college football about Philadelphia. You told me before you don't really have a college team. You guys got a college football atmosphere.
Correct. I mean, I do have Temple. Temple has a football team, and obviously, it's not a bad football team because we had Hassan Reddick, who came from Temple, and he's the guy. He's the guy right now that had 16 sacks this season. But it's other than that, there hasn't really been much of a college football atmosphere in Philly. In fact, most people bring out Penn State. Penn State is the college football team that Philadelphia adopts. I'm not a college football guy, so.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, man. It's so what do you feel about actually going 5 years ago, 5 years ago, being at the Super Bowl with the Eagles?
So 5 years ago, I kind of thought that we were going to be doing this every year. Honestly, we were. I think it was Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson was talking about the New York. He's talking about the New York. And it's taken a few years to get back to this point. So I thought that I was going to be able to go the following year. And you think about that, if Alshon Jeffrey caught the ball, he might have, because we had the Rams number. But it didn't work out that way. Obviously, the Saints won.
Oh my God, what are you talking about?
I'm doing a live broadcast. Thank you. She's a Chiefs fan, you can tell. They don't do much. They don't do much.
So, but time of your life, man.
It's been a lot of fun. I've been all around the whole town today. As you saw, I was on First Take. I was on the NFL. I was on the NFL live broadcast. I've been doing lots of pictures. People will recognize me from all across they had me on ESPN Brazil, ESPN Australia. It's really been a lot of fun all the way around, and I'm just really excited.
ESPN personality.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Who all have you met?
So Dan Orlovsky's kids are all Eagles fans. That was amazing to me too, because I got them on a TikTok. They were all wearing Cunningham jerseys, similar to me. So it was like I got them on a TikTok. It was a lot of fun. So I met everybody from NFL Live. I'm supposed to go head up to Worski's party a little bit later. So
Really?
that's right. Yeah. It's all Eagles fans. Oh no, you gotta do it because I got my hands busy. You gotta hit the button.
What's up, brother?
Awesome. Sorry about that. I told you it'd be crazy. When I got all that stuff.
I told the audience it'd be crazy, yeah.
Let me see if I can get you a more. I've got a place for me to. Hold on. I need to get my bag. Give me a sec.
All right. Go ahead, man. See, this is a live Super Bowl.
There we go. Thank you. Go Bears. Excuse me. I'm sorry. There we go. I'm moving to a little bit more open area.
Okay. Yeah, we got about 10 minutes, brother. Shoot up. Take your time.
Hold on. I gotta introduce you. So she's a Chiefs fan, but I found out just a little bit ago she's also a 2-star general
Nice.
for the United States Air Force.
You never know who you're going to meet.
And I tell you, they cry just the same way when they lose their games because they're going to lose the Super Bowl. So I'm doing a podcast right now. I think it's something into it. I'm going to put this right here right now. I gotta go outside for a second just to get this. Awesome. So, excuse me. I just wanted to get out of here. Really. It's crazy. It's going on over here. Right over here, they're doing. I'm not sure if it's ESPN Live. At SportsCenter, they're doing SportsCenter right behind me here.
Man, that is awesome, dude.
So it's like here. I'm gonna go over here where the lights are a little brighter. There you can kind of see. Then you can see me. You can see me. This is SportsCenter over here.
Yeah, you got the Westbrook there. Yeah.
Westbrook, you got a Seahawks fan. Let's go, Birds! All right, I'll get out of the way now.
Hey, let me ask you something, Jamie. What about this A.J. Brown thing? We talked about that a little bit the other day with him kind of getting mad because he didn't get the ball in the NFC Championship game. Now, you know, his cap number is pretty good next year. It's like $8 million, Jamie. But in 24, it's going to be $27 million. You guys got the 10th pick next year. Would you consider possibly drafting another receiver and maybe trading A.J. Brown in 24?
No. The reason why I think no is because if they're going to sign Hurts to a long-term deal, yeah. Hurts and A.J. Brown are best of friends. So you're going to want to keep those two together because that they communicate well together. So the fact that he was, I didn't even hear that he was a little upset about because he got the ball thrown to him a number of times. Of course, Hurts was a little long, but there could have been 2 touchdowns that went to Brown that it was a little too far just a little too far over. You're in the Super Bowl. How upset can you really be? How upset can you really be?
Receivers are, Jamie.
I understand. Well, listen, you would know just as well because he was there. He was there with you guys.
He didn't act this way in Tennessee.
No, because he was hurt a little bit. And he didn't like the quarterback at all. So instead of being a bad teammate and saying, "Hey, my quarterback stinks," he was just hurt.
Yeah.
So he loves Jalen Hurts. He's a competitor. He wants the ball, obviously. He's open all the time. That's the joke. That's the joke in Philadelphia. He's open. Right. Look at that. They got a Washington Washington Commanders fan. I thought they were extinct. He's got a football team. I appreciate it. He's got a football team. Shirt on.
Good luck, hey, that's awesome, dude. You're beating everybody. What about, was it McNabb and T.O.? Wasn't they friends at first, too?
Yeah, but they weren't the best of friends beforehand.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like they came there, and the problem was if McNabb just had T.O.'s back for a half a second, it would have been better. But it wasn't that way because he didn't have his back, because McNabb wanted all of the accolades and didn't want to give any to T.O. And then it became a blow up, and that's what fractured. Go Westbrook, let's go. That's what fractured the team because half the team was on T.O.'s side. They're like, why can't you just do this for him? And they were like, well, why can't you do it? Why does he have to? And that was part of the problem. So I look at that as a much different scenario. These guys are friends, and I tell you what. A ring is going to solve all those problems.
That's true. You know, so how was this game going to play out, man? I'm a little concerned about Hurts' shoulder. Jamie.
You know what? Everybody keeps saying that. Why aren't you concerned about Mahomes' ankle?
Well, because he played well against Cincinnati, man.
You know what? So the first week, the pain is easier to deal with. After a couple of weeks, you start thinking about the pain a little bit more. So, and I got to imagine they're going to shoot it all up, just like they're going to shoot up His shoulder. You know what? His shoulder, he ran 9 times, 3 times in a row, and got sacked and got tackled pretty good. Still got sacked a couple of times and stuff like that. Was able to get up and finish the entire game, and we still scored 31 points. So I don't know that I'm concerned about his shoulder as much as I am concerned about the ankle. I think that that's a wash.
You think so? Okay. Well, if that's a wash, y'all should win. How's this game going to play out, man? What's the score going to be?
So me personally, I got it as a high-scoring game. I think that Kansas City's a good team. Yeah. You're not going to be able to just take them lightly. We're not going to be able to just stop them. I think that Kelsey's going to get his points. You know what I mean? Mahomes and Kelsey is going to start to do their thing. I think that he's going to wind up scoring 2 touchdowns at the very least. And my thought is that you're going to start to double him, and then the other receivers are going to start to get it. But the defense is going to make a big play. Our defense is going to make a big play. And I got it 38-28 Eagles. Okay. That's right. Go Birds. Go Birds.
Yeah, they beat the Eagles last year 42-30 in Philadelphia. But y'all got 3 new defensive players since then. Ready?
You know what? And Dominican Sue knows how to play against them. He won a ring against them. And I got to imagine, these guys are ready to play. They're very focused. I've been saying all season long that the Eagles, as long as they remain focused, they're going to win every game that they play. And that includes the Super Bowl. And I can't imagine that they're going to be losing focus at this time of life. This is the biggest game of the year, and I got to imagine that they are very, very in tune with what's going on.
Yeah. Sal Palantonio said this is the best Philadelphia team he's seen. Is this the best team you've ever seen, the Eagles?
Yes.
Better than 17?
Better than 17. 17 had a lot of things going for it. So what I'll say the difference between 17 and this year is that in 2017, one of the things that's very unspoken about, and you may actually understand this a little bit, is that Foles and Wentz are both like pastors.
Yeah.
And there was a very religious undertone that wasn't spoken about amongst the Eagles.
Especially Foles. Yeah.
Foles is absolutely very religious. And then you have what's his the offensive coordinator at the time was also very, very religious. They were baptizing guys every week. And I tell you, and when you start to think about that in a different sense, beyond the religious sense, when you start getting people on the same page, believing the same thing, you can move mountains. Faith can move mountains.
Yeah.
And I feel that they just believed in one another. They had faith in one another. They had faith in one goal, and they were able to accomplish everything that they needed to do.
Yeah.
If there was a doubt in that faith, they may not have been able to do that. And
it's a good point.
When you think about this team, I think this team is just a lot more talented. They're a lot more focused, and they have that same one goal in mind.
Yeah.
And I feel that that's the biggest difference, that they all believed in 2017 in the one goal. They all believe in the same goal, but they have the talent to do it. They've been the best team in the NFL all year long. They've had a couple of hiccups. You don't go undefeated in the NFL anymore.
Hard, man.
But they still kept, when everything was said and done, they still had everything. They had their eyes on the prize, and now they're here to take what's theirs. And that's I think the difference. I know that Kansas City's a good team. Kansas City is just as focused. They're going to do everything that they can to win. You have a coach who knows some of their players, who knows some of the tendencies that those players do. He's very familiar with Philadelphia. However, I just think that when you're going up against your old team, you run into some old tendencies. And I think that Andy Reid is possible. You're going to see some of the Andy Reid of old. And Some of the Andy Reid of old was very bad on time management, was very bad on getting stuck in his play calling.
Yeah.
That this has got to work, it's got to work, it's got to work, it's got to work. And that's where I feel that's going to be his downfall.
And plus, Nick Sirianni, they said he's got a chip on his shoulder from Andy Reid not taking him to Kansas City.
Hey, I think that you always wind up with chips that you want to take care of. Like, it's like, all right, yeah, he was kicked out of, he was fired or let go. Truth of the matter is, I believe that, so Andy Reid doesn't just let people go. He puts them in different positions.
Yeah.
And I believe that I feel like Andy Reid put him over there with Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So, and of course, Nick Sirianni was, looks at, I've drawn a little bit of a blank on his name. Frank Reich. Yeah. He looks at Frank Reich as a mentor.
Yeah.
And I think Andy Reid put him in that position.
Yeah.
And, I don't think that there's love lost between the two, but I also believe that without that growing experience, Nick Sirianni wouldn't be where he is either.
That's what I'm saying. I guess the media made a bigger deal out of it.
Of course, the media is trying to grab every little thing out of the sky. They grab Kelsey. They grab Mrs. Kelsey, and Mr. Kelsey. Actually, they're not even talking about Mr. Kelsey. He was the father of both these guys, but it's all about the mom. It's all about the Go Birds. It's all about the mom. You know what I mean?
He got the double jersey.
Exactly. Actually, it's not even a double jersey anymore. It's a double jacket because the jersey shows one in the front, one in the back. She's not doing that. She's doing half and half this way.
Hey, you know something? A lot of people compare you guys to the Alabama fans, saying you're annoying and all that. But I think it's because you guys really care in Philadelphia about your team. And that's why Philly's never been really terrible my whole life, dude. You had the 80s. You had Reggie White in the 80s. Ron Jaworski. You guys always been good. Don't you think that's because you hold people accountable?
That's exactly it. Our Eagles fans are knowledgeable. We're very passionate, and we are sometimes overly passionate to the point that it's aggressive.
Yeah.
And I understand that, and I appreciate that. I try to change some of that narrative. Philly fans aren't as bad as everybody makes them out to be. That all being said, it's like the media loves to beat up Philly.
Yeah.
That, they continually make us that underdog thought process.
Yeah.
And we accept that role, so we embrace that role. And it's fun. It's amazing. It's awesome to be able to do that type of stuff. But truth of the matter is that we are very knowledgeable. We do hold our players accountable. Because the truth of the matter is, when you win a championship in Philadelphia, you get a statue made for you. That's how that works. And you ask anybody, you see all those Mummer jerseys or the Mummer hats out in the stands because of Jason Kelsey doing that. You see the statue of Nick Foles and Doug Peterson saying, "You want Philly, Philly?" And he's going, "Yeah, look at that, a Lions fan. I thought they were extinct." And you said, "Good luck out there, man. Good luck out there." So,
well, you're popular, man. What can I say?
But we also know a lot about, so people are always impressed that I know a lot about the Cowboys, that I know a lot about the Giants, that I know a lot about our foes, that I want to, because that's part of what we do, I want to be 100% on everybody that we go up against, so that I know, and if I know, that means my team knows. And that's what I care about, and that's what we do best.
You've never thought that the Eagles are hopeless?
Never. Never. We've had bad seasons. We've had rough seasons. You know what I mean? A couple of years ago, even with Doug Peterson, we wound up, only 4 wins. You know what I mean? We thought we were still going to win the division at 6-10 or 7-9. Hey, look at all these cheesesteaks. Look at all these cheesesteaks. Hey, I hope they all did you bring your towel? Look at all the crying that you got to wipe on those ears. Hey, good luck, guys. Good luck, guys. I appreciate that. Hey, good luck this Sunday, guys. Right. I know you guys follow me on TikTok, right? Let's go. Let's do it. So, give me 1 second, guys.
You know what they say, though? You got to throw it to Kelsey and give it to Pacheco.
Hey, listen. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy. Let's do it. That's it.
Oh, nice.
All right, guys.
Nice.
Have fun this week.
Yeah, man. All right, dude.
You're like a famous wrestler, Jamie. You're taking time, man. How do you stay up? And have you lost your voice this week?
Oh, I don't ever lose my voice because I don't scream.
Okay.
I just talk loud all the time.
Headaches and stuff?
I do. Sometimes when you're talking, I keep aspirin on me all the time, just because, at halftime I have to take an aspirin. It's always, it is a lot. It is a lot. And I tell you, when this week is over, obviously on Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to be back down. I'm going to be very, secluded. I'm going to get my body ready for the parade on Wednesday because we're having one. That's exactly it. We're going to be paraded down Broad Street, and you're going to see me in front of that parade leading it, and we're going to be enjoying our second Lombardi Trophy. That's
brother. Hey, that's a good one to leave on. Hey, let me get a "Let's Go Birds," man, for the audience.
Go Birds! EAGLES! Eagles! Yeah!
Next week, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Go Birds!
All right,
yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for staying on and watching Jamie here. He had a lot going on. That was really nice of him to come on during everything. So I'll be back tomorrow, Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez. Jamie gave me a lot to think about. I know he's a super fan, but he's very honest, and he does make some good points about the Eagles. And, the truth of the matter is they're the better roster. He's not – that is no BS there. They do have the better roster up to down. They do have a great story, too, with Jalen Hurts. So that's a lot for me to think about there. I am concerned about I know he wants to poo-poo Hurts' shoulder, but what I didn't get with him is that shoulder has been injured since December 18th, guys. That's almost 2 months ago. And if that shoulder's fine, they're going to be fine. Better offensive line, better defense overall, better roster. But the ankle there with I don't believe him about that Patrick Mahomes. I think Mahomes' ankle is going to be okay. But it's a lot of what ifs. It's a lot of what ifs. And last year, Kansas City did beat them 42-30. And he's right. They've got 4 new players on defense for Philadelphia. Still very difficult to handicap this game. Jamie's made some good points here. I'm going to have to read over. I will go over this tomorrow again, 7 p.m. Central Time here on SportsSkope with Carlos Mad New Yorker Shop. Thank you, Livia. Thank you. Yeah, Jamie's great, man. He's got a lot. He's always got that energy early in the morning too. So thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.